Hey, John.
Hello.
So thanks for having us.
Thank you for being here.
So I guess perhaps a good place to start is for the people who don't know who you are and what you do. I mean, please introduce yourself.
Hello. I'm John Caroll Kirby. I'm a musician from LA. Music is my life. It's my passion. It's what I do every day. I have the opportunity in my life to work with a ton of great people and explore my own musical journey, and in the process of that, learn something about myself, and happy to be doing this. You know.
Sure. So you're a keys player, but you're also a producer and a songwriter. You've, I guess, mostly worked kind of behind the scenes, so to speak. What is it that brought you to that particular line of work, would you say?
I think what brought me to that was my love for orchestration. When I was learning about music, I was always interested in arrangers, like Gil Evans, Duke Ellington. People like that who could sort of make you feel something through the intricacies of the music without you knowing how it is, what you're feeling, you know, the subtlety. Yeah. And that's what I love.
Okay.
Being able to steer someone in a direction where they don't know that's how they're being steered that way.
For sure, for sure. So how would you describe the kind of work that you've done in terms of collaborating with artists, you know, helping them either, I guess, you know, write songs or, you know, bringing what you do as a keyboardist to the mix? How's that what's that process like?
When I work with someone else, I always try to serve what they're after, you know. So when I go into the room with someone, try to see where they're coming from, and then try to see what I can bring, you know what I mean? Sometimes as a keyboardist, a producer, whatever, you know, the part that is the most simple and has it least recognizable in a song, you know, the thing that stands out the least, sometimes is the right move, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So sometimes you have to kind of detach from what you would like to do, you know, and say, okay, what does this song need? So that could be difficult, and you don't always achieve that.
For sure, for sure.
That's how I approach it, yeah.
Okay. What are some standout moments you would say from, you know, from your career that come to mind with regards to this kind of collaboration process?
You know, it's funny, I was just thinking about this time. It was way back in the day, kind of relates. But I was on tour with Mike Patton, who, when I was growing up, I was kind of a fan of like Mr. Bungle and stuff like that. Faith No More. When I was a little kid, that was my thing. And we were on he had this band with Rozelle from The Roots, and Rozelle would sort of come onto the tour bus. He followed the tour bus in his own van. He called it the Boogie Van, and he would come onto the bus every morning, like when the bus parked outside whatever city, and he would come on and he would wake everybody up on the bus with like sound effects, basically. Like a dog, he could do an amazing dog, you know, whatever. He could do anything. You know Rozelle, yeah.
Yeah.
Do anything, like police siren. So maybe not so much part of the creative process, but one of my fondest memories. Because he'd wake you up and you'd be like, dude, you know,
sure. It's
5 a.m., chill, you know, but it was him. And I was such a fan of The Roots growing up, so I was like, damn, all right, cool. Like, thanks, man. Good morning.
You still learn something, yeah.
But maybe there's a lesson there. I don't know. He was always creating, you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
That's like him, nonstop, making sounds, making music, you know. So maybe that's a lesson there. I don't know.
What are some records that people might have heard that you worked on?
Probably the most recognizable one would be Solange's last record, Seat at the Table. Big pleasure, big honor to work on that, to work with Solange.
What kind of stuff did you literally bring to the table? That's terrible pun, but
yeah, Solange is cool, man. She kind of lets you do your thing. If she needs to steer it in a certain way, she will.
mm-hmm.
So she would kind of we'd come in and she'd say, okay, here's a little vibe, and then just kind of let you at it. And then what's cool about Solange is actually she's a master editor. So she'd I would do a take, and it would often be the first take, you know. And then she would go through, and she doesn't run Pro Tools, but she would say to the engineer, okay, all right, that needs to go over there, that purple thing over there needs to be nudged this way. And,
wow.
And so it's actually quite cool to watch her work in that way. She's a great producer in that way, you know. Lets you do your thing, and then when she needs to guide, she does.
Amazing. You were saying you just did some work with Sébastien Tellier in Paris as well?
Actually, I've been working with him for a long time, almost 10 years.
Okay.
I was a keyboardist in his band for a while, and then yeah, we started a new band together.
Okay.
Called Mind Gamers with me, him, and my friend Daniel Stricker from Midnight Juggernauts.
Okay.
And we were just out in the Red Bull studio in Paris working on some music, and that was quite cool. Sebastian had done some work for Chanel,
mm-hmm.
Karl Lagerfeld, and we had this track, and we had this sort of poem on the beginning, and we said, oh man, wouldn't that be cool if we could get Karl to recite this poem? Just sort of as a dream, you know, not thinking it would happen. And then Sebastian called his friend at Chanel, and they said, yeah, okay, he's down, you know, come by tonight at 8 a.m., something like that. He starts work at like 9 p.m.
Wow.
Come by early. He's going to show up early at 8. We'll record it, and we come in and we give it to him, and he says, what does he says, okay, who wrote this? And I was like, oh, I did. He says, it's good. And then he goes, I do it in Sprech song. And I go, whatever, what's that? He's like, yes, it's a technique developed by Schoenberg, you know, in the 20s. It's between speaking and singing, you know. And so we're like, yeah, man. Sprech song it up, you know, whatever. And he read it down. And it was perfect. Like, we're like, oh my God, this guy's a genius. Read it like just the right amount of drama, you know, the phrasing was completely good.
Amazing.
And so that was that. We were in and out of there in like 20 minutes and stuff. But
cool.
That was a very cool experience.
So, so we're in your studio in LA right now.
Yeah.
As people can see, it's kind of a pretty simple setup.
Yeah, pretty simple. Yep.
How? I mean, when you kind of try and when you're writing, what do you begin with? Is there do you begin with melody? Do you begin with words or ideas? Or is it different every time?
It's different every time. A lot of time I'll write in the car. Part of LA is being in your car, so
mm-hmm.
I got the little voice recorder on my phone, and if idea comes to me, then
sing it into the phone.
Sing it into the phone. Yeah, yeah. And then sometimes I don't know. I'll start with a drum beat, maybe an idea on the piano.
Okay.
Maybe a sound could start things. I work a lot with samples, so maybe find a sample that moves me. If I'm really stuck, I'll listen to some music, try to find some inspiration.
Okay.
I don't believe in writer's block, you know. I think sometimes it takes a long time, sometimes it doesn't, you know. So if I'm heading towards what people would call block, I take in, you know what I mean? I learn some music, play some music, play the piano.
Okay. So you have a debut album coming out very shortly called Travels. Travel.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. How did the album come about? What's the idea behind it?
The idea for the album started a long time ago. I was actually in Japan with my friend Sébastien Tellier, and I had to sort of arrange his music in this sort of almost exotica setting, because it was a sort of special gig, just me and him, and I sort of put all his music sort of like with marimbas and xylophones on the MPC, and sort of was triggering it all and made it this sort of different thing. And he really dug it, and he said, "Oh, I think you got something there, you know." And so from that moment, I kind of imagined this character in the music. And then from there, I just started to work, you know, every day, create a little something, and then gradually it sort of took shape. And I had always been a fan of like exotica, from a, you know, from like a YMO perspective, if you're familiar with
Yeah.
Yellow Magic Orchestra.
Yellow Magic
so they
Orchestra.
had sort of like looked at like Martin Denny, and they had done their take on it. And then this sort of, I love them, I love Martin Denny, and so this, to me, this is a bit my take,
Gotcha.
my generation of that.
So there's a kind of poppy, synthy element. 'Cause
Yeah.
I kind of heard that in the music.
Yeah.
It's kind of like upbeat and bright.
Yeah, it's a bit upbeat, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that about those exotica records, like they're,
For sure.
it's easy to listen to. I like that, you know. You know, I came up playing jazz, which can be abrasive sometimes. You know, it can be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to make it a bit easy, and then within that, like I said before, kind of insert my own
Touch.
touch.
And then it's inspired, the name is a reference to the fact that it's kind of inspired both by travels, real and imagined.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. A lot of those places I've been. A lot of those places I haven't been. So,
Okay.
you know, and the single that came out, Socotra, I've never been there. I'd love to go there.
Where is it?
And so that's off the coast of Yemen,
Okay.
and sort of in between Yemen and then Ethiopia.
Right.
And so with that, it's kind of this magical place, and I sort of tried to imagine what it's like there, all this flora and fauna that's there.
Okay. So you're going to perform in a couple of weeks as part of our Outside Insight event
Yeah.
for the RBMALA Festival.
Yeah.
What can people expect?
I think it'll be quite good. I put together a really good band of fantastic musicians here in LA. And the way the music is going to be, I'm going to take my pieces and it's going to evolve live. There'll be an improvised element. And we're going to kind of steer it as it needs to go and kind of react a bit like that, which I look forward to. You know, a lot of times you see people, there's a big electronic element, but I'm going to definitely use that to some degree, but then also use the jazz element. A lot of the guys playing with me are jazz musicians, so we're going to kind of work that in because they know how to improvise.
Amazing. Okay. So that's coming up in about 10 days, I think.
October 12th, yeah.
October 12th,
Yeah.
which will be the first event at the Open Better Space. So it'll be a nice,
Yeah.
it'll be a blank canvas for the space, blank canvas for the
seems
music.
Cool. Yeah, it seems very
Wicked.
cool.
Well, look, thank you so much. I guess, would you be cool to take us out with some music?
I'd love to.
All right, let's do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.